Hi, I'm Christopher Lehman, founding director of the Educator Collaborative. Thank you for joining me for this session. This session's pre-recorded with the hopes that you will go and watch the other live sessions that are happening right now. But after you have, you can come back and watch this one. It'll still be here. This session is focused on supporting you and your colleagues in finding ways to learn with us here at the Educator Collaborative. I'd like to talk through ways that we can learn on site together, either doing school-based professional development where I and my colleagues can come to your school, work with you and your colleagues in your classrooms to support your literacy growth, whether it's aligning it to standards or supporting reading and writing workshop for the first time, or whatever your work may be, content area literacy, technology, we're here to work with you. I'm also happy to share, if you haven't already registered, and you'd like to know more about our virtual think tanks and our study series session, these both, we believe, are really unique ways of bringing basically any educator in the world together and to learn with some exciting experts in our field. So without further ado, let's get started. During this session, I'd like to share three main ways that you can work closely with us at the Educator Collaborative to support your professional learning. Those are bringing us to your school or to your organization or conference through our on-site literacy consulting. You can be challenged through a rigorous and intimate cohort of educators, literally from around the world, through our virtual think tanks. And you also could study for yourself, but have the opportunity to share engaging web sessions with literally every person at your school, if you'd like, through both live and on-demand study series sessions. So let's start with literacy consulting. Our K-12 school-based literacy consulting and public speaking services are ultimately built around your goals. Our members work alongside your colleagues in real classrooms with your very real students. So for instance, if we work with a elementary school, you typically will work with a school for several days throughout the year, and we will both have planning time. We might support you during after-school professional development periods, or if you have professional development days. But then we also will work in teams with your teachers, depending on the size of your school. And all in one day, perhaps, we'll work with kindergarten, first grade, second and third, and fourth and fifth grade teachers in different groups. Or very large schools, you might divide some of those out across days. But we'll work inside of classrooms with you and your teams on standards-based literacy instruction, on supporting reading and writing workshop, on integrating technology, on developing social justice-oriented curricula, or other work that you and your school is engaged in. We know best practice. We know through the wisdom and hands-on work of all of our members what really can move student achievement forward, but we also recognize that you know your school, you know your community, you know your colleagues better than anyone, and so we bring our work to align with yours. We also offer speaking services. We can put together institutes. Those could be summer institutes for you and your colleagues, or they could be during breaks during the school year when you and some of your members work together to study in a topic. Or we could devise district-wide institutes, for example, where we may work together on developing deepening work and appreciation around nonfiction, or if you're just starting out with writing workshop, we can provide a several-day institute to support you and your staff in those goals. Those institutes can be provided anytime during the year, given our schedules and your schedules and working together to align those. But we really do believe very strongly in work in classrooms, but also time where adults can come together in a really rigorous way and learn. And then lastly, we also provide speaking services. Our members have spoken at national, international, local events for districts, for organizations. We are here to bring our edu joy to you and to really support your own shifts in practice that you and your members are engaged in. There are so many topics that we cover. There's just a few. We support literacy across the spectrum, all the way K through 12, for example, reading workshop and writing workshop, either beginning in those practices or deepening them. Technology integration, social justice. We love to do work with coaches or with leaders on best practices for supporting the growth of the adults in your building. So really, we're here. You can contact us at theeducatorcollaborative.com/contact. That's the easiest way to let us know your needs, and you'll hear from one of us, and so we can move forward from there. Then we provide 2 online series. Our first that we love so much, and I personally love so much, is our virtual think tanks. Our virtual think tanks are intimate online cohorts that meet over video conference. Virtual think tanks in particular have been really exciting to even be a part of. Across the last several years, the virtual think tanks I've been in, we've studied together, we've laughed together, and really by the end of the year, we're all kind of sad that it was over. It really is such a unique opportunity to get to know people throughout the world, educators that are doing the work that you are doing, and make lasting connections. One thing that I especially love about it is just that we're all online together. So we get to talk together, we get to share what we're working on with one another. It really is unlike any other learning experience I've ever been a part of. And I'm so happy that we get to share that with you here at the TheEdCollab. Our virtual think tanks are really, we believe, one of our most rigorous ways of working with us. For example, our school-based work, we are directly with you and your team. However, because we are there supporting your entire school or sometimes an entire district, we still are working with basically all of your colleagues. There are lots of us that are together throughout the day. Our virtual think tank is the way that the TheEdCollab is rethinking professional development and really trying to support expert, engaged educators in deepening their practice in a really meaningful way. The virtual think tank is small on purpose. We have no more than 10 members, and those 10 members oftentimes even include the expert leaders themselves too. Those 10 members generally come from all around the world. We have folks from across multiple time zones that tune in for them. We always meet over video conference, and we do that so that this very small team can feel like a family. We really can get to know each other and know each other's work and support one another in that really intimate way. It's unlike almost any other professional development opportunity because you get to step outside of your school to work with others while actually physically still being probably in your school, or depending on your time zone, you may be at home. But it really reaches you as an individual learner. That said, that individual, if you are someone who registers for a virtual think tank, included in your virtual think tank is also our study series, which I'll talk about in just a bit. That study series allows you to learn from amazing people in this 12-session series that the study series entails, but you also get to share that learning with everyone at your school. So we'll go more into detail around that, but we really see the virtual think tank as rethinking professional development, online professional development, and for our many years of doing them, we've always had lots of joy from our leaders and just many compliments from our members. Each of our cohorts goes into a deep study of a topic. You learn from expert leaders and from each other. The design of our virtual think tanks is, for example, the one that's on the screen here is Dana Stakowiak's upcoming, and backed by popular demand, I should mention, Coaching from the Core, Coaching Ourselves, Raising Everyone. This is one of our virtual think tanks that was built specifically for coaches and literacy leaders. So you could also be an instructional coach, a literacy coach, a principal, an assistant principal, really anyone who's leading some sort of literacy work with adults in your school. So this particular cohort, for example, will meet with Dana 5 times during the year. Those dates are set. However, once the cohort is formed, they can be somewhat flexible if a number of members are gone, or sometimes in the past a few people have been sick, or we really try to be flexible. So dates are set so you know how to schedule your time, but but then each cohort leader does try to be responsive to the members. So you'll meet with Dana 5 times across the year. You'll be live with her and other educators from literally around the world. Then, in between those sessions, 2 things happen. One is you're asked to take the practices that you study and put them into practice. So you're asked to then go out and do the work that Dana is teaching around fueling yourself when the work gets hard, about being respectful and responsive. I guess that's responsible in your coaching practices, to take that work and try it out. Then bring that back to the next meeting so that you can continue to learn from Dana, but also from your and each other's experiences, putting that work into practice. We really see it as this full reflective cycle. During those in-between times, each of our cohorts also continue to stay connected over apps like Voxer or over email, or some groups have put together even a text message chain so you can phone a friend during the day. These virtual think tanks are spread out across the year, so this learning continues throughout. And as I mentioned, then have the addition of 12 more sessions of learning through our study series, which we'll get to next. But first, just to preview the cohorts for this year. So here again is Dana Stakowiak's session. I feel honored to lead a session for serving English language learners with Dr. Carla España. In our cohort, Academic Language Structures to Help ELs and All Learners, we are looking at all of the languages spoken inside of your classrooms as gifts to your classroom. We believe that every member of your classroom, regardless of their English ability, regardless of when they may have arrived in our country, all bring brilliance, bring joy, bring an engaging background that's there for all of us to learn from. In this particular cohort, we will study how to support academic language for both the English language learners you serve and the native English peers that you may have in your classroom or in your school. This cohort is designed for anyone who works with English language learners. This can include if you are an ENL, ESL, ELL bilingual specialist, but this also is for those of you that may teach in a general or inclusive setting that has current or former English language learners in your classroom. This work is really to support everyone. This cohort will look at academic language, kind of the language of school, the language that oftentimes can be a barrier for our ELs and our native speakers. We'll study vocabulary that's worth teaching, ways of increasing sentence complexity in the ways that your students speak and write, and as I said, to really see all of the language plurality in our classroom is truly a gift. This cohort is for K through 8 educators, really anyone who'd like to study inside of this. Then Dana is leading a brand new cohort in addition to her coaching cohort this year, which we are very excited about. This is a K through 12 cohort called From Words to Actions, Real Meaningful Social Justice Teaching and Learning. Dana is an expert in multicultural education and social justice education, and this cohort will be rigorous and it will be incredibly meaningful. This is for you if you are an educator anywhere, in any role, who wants to make change for your students and through your students. One thing that we know is that social justice change doesn't happen just because we wish it will, or just by being nice, or just by being hopeful. It takes real informed action, and that informed action involves studying yourself, the way that you are in the world, and studying how others operate in the world as well too. This session will look specifically around literacy practices through social justice teaching that do things like recognizing your own and others' power and privilege, how to read, write, speak, and listen, to really learn from others' experiences and their identities. And it will all be built around a social justice framework that believes that sort of all the work we do should be project-based, that it takes reading, writing, speaking, and listening study to help us understand the best ways to approach problems, and then actually putting those problems into practice and really trying to take some action and then reflecting on those action and engaging in that cycle again. Dana is brilliant in this work. She will really push you, and it will be, no doubt, an unbelievable cohort and just an incredible year. So we look forward to that. And then lastly, our fourth and final virtual think tank cohort that will be offered for this year will be led by Kate Roberts and Maggie Beatty Roberts. It's a upper grade and middle school cohort, grades 3 through 8, focused around DIY tools. If you are a fan of their book, DIY Literacy, or perhaps you have engaged in their work in last year's study series, or in one of our year's closings to our TheEdCollab gathering, or if you know their video series on their DIY tools, then this cohort will help you go farther. Because this, again, is an intimate cohort. There'll be no more than 10 people total. So actually that will be 8 of you plus Kate and Maggie. That means that you will be engaging with them, with these practices, and with each other in a way that directly responds to the needs that you have in your classroom or the classrooms that you serve. Across this cohort, you will study differentiated literacy instruction, supporting student independence, and methods for creating homemade tools that really are quick and meaningful to support rigorous and attainable reading and writing skills. You'll be able to problem solve from session to session with Kate and Maggie and with your other colleagues in this group. We are just so excited about them leading this cohort, and we think it will be really incredibly meaningful, especially if you already love their work. You'll be able to interact more closely and more specifically. So again, we see the virtual think tank as really kind of this full support system, and really a unique kind of a structure for you to study, again, sort of outside of your school. So you get to step outside of your regular PD together with your colleagues and learn alongside people in real time from around the world, and to do so in this really small, intimate setting. We have loved it. Every year, these cohorts feel like a family by the end. In addition, we also have virtual think tank members. We invite you through membership in our full year study series to continue your learning, not just from your cohort, but from incredible leaders, which we'll look at in just a moment. But the study series also invites you to engage anyone at your school, and frankly, everyone at your school, in learning through the study series as well. It's a $348 value that's included inside of your virtual think tank membership. So without further ado, let's look over at the study series. So our study series this year, in 2017-2018, are 22 literacy experts. We'll have 12 live and interactive sessions. And again, one seat can provide whole school professional development. Just to pause here and say, we've had literacy coaches that have used the study series as choice professional development, where teachers can sign up and then view together a live session or watch a recording together. I've heard from lead teachers who have gotten together with just like a grade level colleagues and watched around a computer together. We've had principals that have chosen specific sessions to show at a whole school PD. Each study series is 1 hour, and it's that amount of time on purpose, so that way you can watch and then run, as we know you're busy. The study series always takes place on a Wednesday, and the times are at either 11 a.m. Eastern or at 6 p.m. Eastern. Most of them are at 6 p.m. so they can be provided after the school day. However, we do have several that are at 11 a.m. Eastern, in hopes that if you are in time zones near ours, you'll be able to watch them live with colleagues at your school. We also provide these two time zones because we have an international group of educators. All of you come together to learn with us, and so we wanted to provide two alternative times to best serve our wide number of time zones that we cover. In addition, every study series is recorded and then available on demand through June 30th. That also tends to be very unique. Most times when you sign up for a webinar, they're only provided for a short amount of time after. This past year, we decided to flip over and into a through June structure. just knowing that it'll allow you more time to go back and watch pieces or entire sessions, either yourself or with colleagues. So you can see the full calendar of all of our study series sessions at learning.theeducatorcollaborative.com. There, all of the dates and times and ways of registering are posted. But let's just do a quick view of this amazing year ahead. We're so excited. So the very first session starts at the end of October, and it's with Joanne McCarthy, our book ambassador, and Heather Rocco. It's called Grow a School-Wide Reading Culture. It's an awesome way to start the day with really practical tips of helping you, regardless of your grade level, and your colleagues develop a culture of adults and children that celebrate learning and reading, that love to read, and have that together inside of your community and really strengthen it. Study Series 2 brings our special guest, Jeff Anderson, along with our member, Chantal Francois, and these two experts in teaching students to really hold on to and love grammar and conventions in a way that sticks and, as we have here, doesn't stink. This should be a really engaging session, and again, will support elementary and secondary students and teachers. Then Study Series 3, our special guests, Harvey Smokey Daniels and Nancy Steinecke, best-selling authors, are here to help us develop our content area writing practices. They no doubt will be fun and inspiring, and this is a perfect session that if you're trying to think of who to invite, you might invite some of your content area colleagues. Perhaps you have some science cluster teachers in your school, or if you're in a secondary setting, maybe you have some social studies teachers that you want to invite along to really learn from some experts in content area writing. Session 4 was designed off of a request that we hear so many times when we're working in schools, because it is real, and that's management during reading and writing workshops. How do you support every child in learning and every child in being engaged? This session will be led by Chad Everett and Elizabeth Lacey Schonenberger. It will be incredibly practical, but also really support and respect children. This session will look at ways of reviewing and critiquing some of your own management practices, and including some management practices that sometimes are widely shared, and really looking at ways to meet the same goals in ways that really raise up children and help children and young adults feel respected in ways that they will in turn pay off inside of your community. So we're looking forward to this one. Study Series 5, Taking Reading Farther with Technology. Two of our technology experts, Maggie Beatty-Roberts and Catherine Hale, will do an engaging and exciting session on digging into technology practices that don't just engage students with reading, but really help them show what they know and show their responses and help you to really understand them more as readers. And we're excited for the possibilities. Session 6, if you are a research nerd like I and many of us are, then join together with this club of research nerds. Session 6 in our study series is led by the amazing Donalyn Miller and the amazing Christy Moratz in a session called Research Says, What Matters Most to Readers. This will be one of those sessions, if you're thinking of who to invite, you may want some school board members to sit along with you, or perhaps some parents from your community. This may be a good session for you and your team as you are making plans for upcoming units, or as you're thinking about the looming tests that are on the horizon at that point in the year. This is a session that can help you really remember and recommit to what matters most to readers based on what research tells us we know to be true. So that will be a really engaging, powerful session. Study Series 7, Lessons for Developing Essay Writers with Kate Roberts and Pernille Ripp, both who are accomplished writers themselves and really love the art of writing with students, and in particular do wonderful work with essay writing. This session is, like all of our Study Series sessions, are open to all grade levels, but will particularly be appealing to anyone in upper grades all the way up through secondary, whether you teach English or literacy or a content area. If you do essay work with your kids, this will provide some really practical lessons and strategies for doing that well. Study Series 8 turns over to media literacy and looks at the wide media landscape, including images and video and sound, and the ways that so much of our lives students are surrounded by those in increasingly many ways through many devices. Our experts, Kristen Zemke and Dana Stakoyak, will look at ways that you can teach students to be empowered and powerful in the ways that they use and create media to help them navigate bias, to help them feel powerful in understanding point of view, and also just getting good at looking inside of that work. I'm pleased to join Brian Sweeney, who is an expert in many things, but especially in journalism and student journalism, in session 9, Read and Share Thoughtfully, Fight Fake News. That's a shortened version of a longer title, but the focus of this session is kind of building off of some of the work of previous sessions and really looking at, in particular, journalism today and social media today, and the ways that adults and children interact with those. Even if you teach at an elementary grade, the practices of how you as a teacher model your social media life for your students and the ways that they learn, even at a young age, how to engage with journalism and information and images, all the way up through secondary, will be an important topic inside of this session and really support you and your students in being more critical and more thoughtful in how they intake and share news and information. Study Series 10, these start to move towards the end of our school year. So Study Series 10 is that keeping writing energy high mid-year. Around that time of year, as the tests are looming or perhaps just ending for some of you, there's a way where writing can feel slow and it can feel draining. And so we have two incredibly seasoned, joyful presenters. We have our member Raz Lindner and special guest Shauna Coppola, who will lead this session on keeping writing energy high. Then we round out the year with 2 sessions with special guests that we're very excited for. Study Series 11, Good to Great Across the Grades. Dr. Mary Howard will be with us, hooray! And she will be sharing a session on how to support you and your colleagues as you're planning towards the end of the year for the next year, and really looking at ways that you're articulating strong literacy work across grade levels and making sure that when students come back to us each year, they're building on the successes of the year before and not just falling back into perhaps old plans or old routines. Mary, as you likely know, is engaging and exciting and joyful, and then this session will celebrate that and really help you in your end of year planning. Then session 12 is a tradition here at the TheEdCollab. We end every study series year. Our session 12 in May is always called Ending the Year with Joy. And we invite a educator, a poet, perhaps an artist. We try to invite someone who will put their own spin on this particular title. So we are so happy to end our year with poet and publisher Janet Wong, who will be putting her own spin on Ending the Year with Joy. It'll be no doubt an important session to join and one that will feel uplifting. Right. Kind of amazing, huh? Every year blows my mind, all the amazing people that we have here together and all the great guests that we get to share with you. But this year, no doubt, is another just, wow, knock your socks off kind of a year. June. So again, all of our study series sessions are available to you and for you to view with your colleagues, both live and on demand, all the way through June. You can register for the full study series, or you can choose individual sessions. And both the sessions, the recordings, and, well, I guess not both, and also the related resources, so the readings and videos and links that are paired with each session are available to you all year. We keep our study series, just like all of our online offerings, very cost effective for you and for schools. They start at $29 a seat when you purchase the entire year, or you can purchase individual sessions at only $49 a seat. And again, that $49 or even $29 seat is really not just for you. It allows you to have a seat that you then can share your screen with literally anyone in your school building, and frankly, everyone if you want it. You can all get around a projector to watch all together as many times as you'd like, all the way through June 30th. So it's really we think, a cost-effective whole school learning. So our 2017-2018 registration for these two online learning opportunities, our virtual think tanks and study series, are open right now. Here's something very important. Our virtual think tanks are filling up. Once they are full, because they're small, we will close them one by one as they fill. All of them will close on September 29th. That is the deadline for registering for a virtual think tank. That said, we oftentimes do extend a bit, especially we know that many of you are in the process of working with a school board to get approval for funding, or working with your administrator to make sure that you could have a coverage or arrange your schedule differently on some of those days. If that's the case, we suggest two things. Number one, write to us and let us know. If you are right on the horizon of getting approval, but you need a little extra time, if you reach out to us and just let us know that, we'll do the best we can to hold that seat for you. Number two, we encourage you to sign up for our mailing list from our website, or to join us on social media, on Twitter or on Facebook. There we post updates, including extensions to any of our registrations. So September 29th is the deadline for virtual think tanks. However, there may be an additional time that's given, so just stay up to date with us, or let us know if you need a little bit more time in order to register. Then there are lots of ways to be connected with us as well. You're here with the TheEdCollab gathering today, so you know that this is our biannual conference. It's every September and April, where you don't register, you just watch totally free, just an incredible day of learning. We also invite you to propose a session. We'd love to have you present on one of our days. We have our community blog. You can find us at community.theeducatorcollaborative.com, or you'll find links on all of our pages to our blog. And there you can be a guest writer for us, or you also can view articles that are written and other content that's shared from our members and from others. And then so many of you loved the Global Kind Project last year. We are looking at continuing that this year. Just one little kind of cool shout out that I think is kind of fun. So many of our offerings, in fact, all of these that you see right here and others, we purposefully provide free or low cost, because we believe that great things happen when educators collaborate, and especially when they can collaborate across miles and learn together in really deep, meaningful ways. And so we've created a way that you can support and sustain these. First of all, one way to support and sustain these is to register for our offerings. That's a way that you both can benefit from learning together, and you're registering for those and you're joining us in those helps us to support all of the work that we do, both those and our free opportunities. But we also have heard from many of you that you'd like a way to kind of like show off your TheEdCollab joy, but it also is a way that you can contribute to our work. So if you go onto our website, either the Gathering website or our main website, you'll see a new link to our shop, where for a short time we have all sorts of goodies with lots of logos and sayings like "I teach future adults," or "I'll join you for brunch right after I finish planning children's futures." I personally like that mug. Or you can even just wear an TheEdCollab logo. You'll find those from the shop link on our page, and more information about how your purchase of a cool shirt or a tote bag or a mug or a button both gives you something awesome to wear, but also helps to support the work that we do. So thank you so much for joining me during this session. We look forward to supporting you as you study on site, in sharing your learning with others, or in being challenged. You can find this and all information right below this video here. We have some direct links, or you can visit us at our website, theeducatorcollaborative.com, for links. So thank you for joining me in this session. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for being a part of the Educator Collaborative, and we look forward to seeing you in our study series, in our virtual think tanks, maybe wearing a snazzy new shirt, or in one of our many other ways that we work to support educators around the world in collaborating together. Here at the TheEdCollab, we really believe collaboration creates opportunity, and collaboration can create a world where every learner can succeed and be their greatest, brightest selves. Thanks for all you do for your colleagues, for your students, and for our amazing profession. Enjoy the rest of your day.